Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Me and my wife went to see the new Alex Garland movie, Civil War. He wrote and directed it. We were really excited about the movie. After all, he was the one who wrote 28 Days Later, which is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. He also wrote and directed Ex Machina, great science fiction movie. He did Men 2 years ago, which I also enjoyed. Thought that was a different kind of a movie. And with everything going on in the world, and this is A24, it's their biggest movie ever made, we were like, this is going to be a cool movie. Well, man, did this movie bother me and my wife more than any movie in a long time. So I'm going to give you my review, but this is, I'm giving the movie away. So if you haven't seen the movie and you want to see it, this review and video is filled with spoilers. Do not watch it until after you see it. But I'm going to go through the plot of the movie, and then I'm going to tell you the issues that both me and my wife had. Again, this is just my opinion, and my wife totally agreed, and she doesn't always. But then I want your opinion if you saw the movie, because it really bothered us. So anyway, the movie starts. Kirsten Dunst, you could see her right there, and she plays a veteran war photojournalist who she's traveling along with three other people who are also photojournalists, journalists, and it's in the midst of a big United States Civil War, right? The movie doesn't give any kind of time frame. It's clearly in the near future. It seems that California and Texas have seceded from the Union, and they created a force called the Western Forces, and they are winning the war somehow. In fact, the journalist, the big plot point is that they're going to head to Charlottesville to meet up with the Western Forces to go to Washington, D.C., where they plan to kill the President of the United States, who is a three-term president. The photojournalists plan to go there with the idea that they are going to interview the President before he gets assassinated, and they're going to document the assassination. Jessie, right there, see her. She is a young girl, and she models herself after Kirsten Dunst, who is really like the world's most famous photojournalist ever. She's fearless. She is passionate. She's no holds barred. Nothing bothers her. It's all about getting that shot. Photojournalism is her whole life. Nothing phases her until she just wants to capture that shot of death and mayhem. So they're on a journey, and the first stop is a gas station where they discover two men who were tortured, and they're literally hanging like outside of the gas station. The young girl sees it. She's going to take this opportunity. She wants to go check it out of these guys who were tortured, and they're still alive. They're just being hanging there. But she just gets too disturbed, and she can't get the shot. She berates herself how she blew it, and she's not up to the level of Kirsten Dunst. So there's a plot point, right? We know that she's going to keep developing, right? We also learn they want to buy gas, and they offer $300 to fill up the car, but the guy says $300 won't buy you a sandwich. So kind of hints at, is American money worthless at this point? They're going to wind up paying for the gas with Canadian dollars. So a little minor point, but you're trying to figure out what's going on in America. Next up, they join a militia during a gun battle at like a building, and you can see a couple of guys getting shot, and they are just brave. Kirsten Dunst and even the young girl, they're out there, they're getting the shot, they're fearless, they're embedded with the militia, and they get the shots, and she proves herself, young Jessie, which is her. Okay, then they stop at a kind of like a dystopian kind of a refugee camp. It's like a football stadium, but it's all graffitied, it's all dilapidated. There's some tents set up, and this is kind of like a refugee station where they're going to stay like overnight, and they're going to bond, and they do that. And then they pass through a small town which seems to be open. They go in, they try dresses on, there's a woman there, and they're like, don't you realize there's like a civil war going on? And the young girl's like, well, we don't watch the news, or we're living on our own world over here. It's just kind of strange, because it seems like they have electricity, there's still some commerce there. The big thing is they notice that there's two guys on a rooftop with guns, but okay, so what? It gives you questions, but there's no answers, Well, they're still driving. They encounter another car which has one of their old buddies, another journalist. And these guys, they are just having the time of their life. They're just living on the edge. They're loving life. They're actually playing games with the two cars driving next to each other, trying to get from one car to the other, driving 100 miles an hour. They're on these beautiful open roads. There's no cars. There's no damage. Where is everybody? There's nobody there. It's just like they're having the time of their life. And it just leaves me all these frustrating questions. Where is everybody? Is everybody dead? Is everybody hiding? They're just enjoying the rush of the danger of doing the job that they love. And now Jesse's like top notch. She's actually going from one car to the other. And she bravely is photographing people getting shot. And what actually happens is one car gets captured by a militia group, a really dangerous guy who's got like these red glasses. He's standing next to a dump truck filled with dead bodies, which they're dumping into a grave a mass grave. And you don't know who's good, you don't know who's bad. The militia guy winds up shooting one guy, one of the journalists, because he doesn't like the answer. He doesn't say you're the kind of American that you need to be. Of course, we don't really know what that is. I guess because he was born in another country, but they don't really get into it. Anyway, suddenly the other guy, the older guy who's traveling with them, he takes the car, runs over the militia guy. They jump in the car. There's another militia guy there, but it seems to take him forever to start shooting. They do pull away, but then it turns out Sammy, the older guy, was shot, and then he does die from his wounds. They eventually arrive in Charlottesville, which is like the meeting point for this Western forces, because they're going to head to D.C. They find out that the American forces, which is the other 48 states basically, have surrendered. They're leaving D.C. to fall. And now they are going to head to the White House, and that's what they're going to do. Well, that is what they do. They drive to Washington, D.C. There's a gun battle going on. I guess there's some forces, but it's really more the Secret Service. So you're watching the president, you're watching the White House, and you're like, where is the army of the American forces? We heard that they kind of surrendered. Where are they? They just left. They just packed it in. But the president's still in the White House with other people, with a couple of civil service to have a gun battle. And of course, they're not going to be any match. The photographers go into the White House very easily with all the gun battle going on. They finally find the president. Well, actually, before that, during this gun battle, a key point is Kirsten Dunst freaks out suddenly. You gotta, throughout everything, all the history of these wars that she's been covering, she's rock solid. Now all of a sudden she has a breakdown, she freaks out, she's huddled in a corner, PTSD, crying, freaking out, and now young Jessie is Kirsten Dunst. She's fearless. You knew that was going to happen. Anyway, she stands up in the middle of this gun battle with the Secret Service. Kirsten Dunst sees this. She jumps up, pushes her out of the way. She gets all the bullets. She gets killed. And Jessie takes the shots of Kirsten Dunst getting shot and killed like the professional photographer that she would be. Now, she's dead. She's now the new Kirsten Dunst, basically, character. They do find the president, who's cowering now, and they get to the president. He's laying on the ground saying, "Don't shoot me." And he goes, "All right, I want the interview." And the interview basically is the president begging for his life, and they shoot the president, and she takes the president of the president getting shot. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. Supposedly, the movie's got big themes. Somebody tell me what the themes are, because I don't know what the themes are. There are no themes. There's no context. It's just a series of vignettes. There's no good. There's no bad. We don't know what the sides are. Who is good? Who's bad? Why did this happen? I understand the movie doesn't want to go there. They don't want to get involved with today with Democrats and Republicans and who's good and who's bad. They just place you into a scenario, kind of like The Walking Dead. We don't know how the zombies are there. Just accept it. Okay, but you still need some context. It's got to be more than a series of vignettes that they're just having the time of their life, risking their life to get pictures of. It just didn't really make any sense. This is a civil war, but where is it going on? Is there electricity? Where are all the people? It was driving me crazy. I live on Long Island in the Northeast. It could take me 2 hours to drive on the Belt Parkway or the Southern State or the Meadowbrook or the Northern State or the LIE or the Belt Parkway. There is a massive amount of people. There is a massive amount of cars. Everywhere they're pretty much going, it's clear sailing. It's kind of like The Walking Dead, but 50 years on. Where's all the cars? Where are all the people? There's nobody there. They're just having the time of their life in open roads. It doesn't make any sense. There was one scene with a bunch of cars, and this guy goes to them and he goes, "Oh, wait until you see this." And they pull up, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of cars. And what do? They pass two cars. They drive into the next side, which is the reverse direction, where there are no cars, and they drive like nothing happened. It was so ridiculous. I can't imagine what Washington, D.C., or any of the metropolitan areas would be like in a civil war with people trying to escape. There would be a billion cars. There would be no roads. It just drove me crazy. There are photojournalists, and they're doing everything for the photos and for the story. But is there any media? Is there any TV? Is there electricity? Who's running the electricity? Are people still working? Does anybody follow the media? What are they doing this for? Is anybody following the news? Does anybody care? Who's good? So many questions. Is the president good? Why is he bad? Or why is he good? I mean, he's been in there for 3 terms. There's no context. And how does Washington, D.C., with the President of the United States, fall with no military, except for basically a relatively few Secret Service? It reminded me of like The Walking Dead without zombies. There's no people. There's no crowded roads. You see some destroyed buildings in the background. There's that one dystopian refugee camp, which, would be nothing in like a Mad Max movie. It had some graffiti on there and some tents. It was just, matter of fact, one point in the background, you see, the red flashing lights from the firearm trails. You see that. A couple going here, a couple going there. Really, it was very unimpressive for a war movie, a Civil War movie, no less. And the guy goes, "Oh boy, we can't go there. There's some brutal fighting going on." Really? Like, I see more down my block on the 4th of July. I mean, it was a joke. It's too dangerous to go there. Really? Look at the pictures of what they're showing. None of this is in the movie. It was like a joke. This is the biggest movie ever made by A24, a great studio. But it's way too small for a Civil War movie. If you're going to do the Civil War, especially what's going on in the world, then do it. They didn't. They just created a bunch of vignettes. The movie's got all open questions, no comments on potentially serious questions and issues. It puts nothing into context. It's just these small vignettes of these people really having the time of their life, living on the edge of danger. I'm a volunteer firefighter. I've been in fires. I get the rush. But you need some context there. We're just left with no answers. Even the death of the 3-term president. We don't know if he was good or bad. And what's going to happen now? Who's going to replace him? Is there a new United States? I get it. It's not the point of the movie. But it needs to have some context. The movie has more holes, I'm telling you, than Swiss cheese, honeycombs, and sponges combined. I mean, it was a really, really frustrated experience. I haven't had a frustrating movie experience like this in maybe ever. I mean, I really disliked this movie, and so did my wife. So I would love to know your thoughts. I just did not enjoy this movie experience, and I want to know what I missed, if I missed something, because I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Civil War. Please let me know what you think. Everybody's got an opinion. I'm not saying mine's any better than yours, but I don't know. As always, thanks so much for watching. I look forward to your comments, and I hope you have a great night.